networker is like a great interviewer.
I'm huge on authenticity, guys. It's a big part of my message.
Claim your local listings and don't get caught paying someone for your local listing.
If you want to be successful, you got to do 6 things 1,000 times, not 1,000 things 6 times.
And when in doubt, give to other people and don't expect anything in return. But in giving to other people and helping them, it almost always comes back.
It's using the power of partnership, creating trusted partner networks to work with you to make your company be an offer more than just you.
They've done 90% of the work. It's your job to do the last 10% to meet them in the middle.
Don't let the fear of losing be greater than the excitement of winning. Hello and welcome to this episode of the Ask Valor Masterminds podcast, brought to you by Advanced Septic Services and Fuse Networks. My name's Galen.
Good morning, I'm Joe.
We're coming at you virtually from the BD local studios in Tacoma, Washington. So Joe, for our new listeners and viewers tuning in for the first time, listening to us, how did our podcast start?
Sure. First started out as a Facebook group page where we wanted to bring on different people who own businesses to talk to each other, share tips, ask questions, kind of help one another out. And being that we're in marketing and we talk to different types of businesses, they sometimes ask us questions that are not related to marketing. Mm-hmm. And we thought, what a better way than to bring on different guest speakers to talk about different topics as it all relates to business.
Awesome. So before we introduce today's guest, our previous guest was Tara Reynolds. Mm-hmm. What was one of your main takeaways when Tara was on with us?
So her topic was it like
the stay in
interview? So it's really, I like the fact that if you use the stay in interview, you learn when people are happy earlier on versus finding out later when they leave or you fire them.
Right. And especially in today's day and age where it's hard to find good quality people, retaining your people, that's one of the main things a stay in interview is for, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So today's guest, we have John Wetmore joining us. Joe, please formally introduce John, please.
Yep. So for the topic today, it's going to be, if that idiot can do it, so can I. So I love that topic.
But he's not an idiot.
He's not an idiot. No. So John serves as a managing partner with Integrity Marketing Group based in Kennesaw, Georgia. Integrity Marketing Group is a leader in the insurance technology space and is the leading distributor of life and health insurance. Prior to starting his insurance career in 2012, he was an accountant crunching numbers, and he knew he wanted a change. John's agency, Family First Insurance Agent Force, will issue over $150 million in new insurance premiums in 2022. John now travels the country mentoring agents, implementing all of the training and advice given to him by his mentors to help them succeed and provide for their family in a way they may not have thought was even possible. Everyone, welcome John.
All right.
Okay.
All right, John, we're going to ask you 3 questions to just kind of get to know you a little bit. First question is, what are some early lessons learned as an entrepreneur?
A lot of them. Probably for me on this specific journey, it took me a little while to learn how different we all are and how different people think. And not that my way is always correct, but not everybody thinks like I do.
Right.
So my delivery to people, whether it was staff, like you guys were just talking about in the previous guest, or more specifically in recruiting and onboarding other 1099 independent agents, I just assumed they all had the same thoughts and visions I did when I spoke to them. And it was a disaster for the first couple of years trying to lead people who just thought, heard, felt, learned, took things differently. And I had to change a lot to be able to communicate with a wide range of people.
Right. So then what has been the best piece of advice that you've been given?
Man, probably the one I repeat the most, because I've been given a lot of good advice, thankfully. Yeah, I had a lot of help getting to the level we're at. And I think a lot of people struggle with this, especially in my space. I don't know many other industries well necessarily, but like leadership is taken, not given. And a lot of people, they want to go, hey, here's my next manager. Here's my next leader. Here's my next right-hand guy. You don't get to dictate that, And if you're in a space where you want to be a leader, you can't sit around and wait for someone to bless you with that. You've got to take leadership roles and, put leadership activity in place day in and day out, and people will recognize it with time.
So take the initiative versus just waiting.
Yeah, 100%. If you want to be a leader, go be a leader. Like, you don't have to wait for someone to give you a title and a sticker. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to lead, start doing stuff to lead.
It's almost, if that
stuff.
idiot isn't doing it, do it, right? So just flipping the title a little bit. All right. Last question. Since this is technically a marketing podcast, why is marketing important?
Man, I'm definitely not a marketing guy, but I know without marketing, we wouldn't be where we are today. I remember someone once told me, like, in my space, what our company is called is an IMO. You go, what's that? It's an insurance marketing organization.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one day, one of the other guys that's a partner now, he has the largest agency here. He goes, y'all realize we're an IMO, like the M, the marketing, like our job is marketing all the time, every day, all day. You know, when we were trying to build this agency, a lot of us, myself specifically, I wasn't focused on that. I didn't even understand it. And I'll never forget when he said that, I was like, man, everything we do now has to be with the intention of getting people to see it, you know, and it's especially in the recruiting world, growing a business, you know, the more people hear about you, see about you, talk about you, it certainly adds value.
So what do you say to those real quick that they're looking into 2023 for the marketing aspect and they're looking like, oh, you know, maybe the economy is a little bit less right now. I'm going to start cutting back on my marketing. What do you say to those people?
And I say that the people who think the opposite of you are going to make massive gains in the next 5 years. You know, I look back to even, and y'all look old enough to be around when, I don't know your ages, but the 09, 08 mess, whatever that was, I imagine you remember, at least remember it.
Yep.
I was in the mortgage industry at that time, and a lot of people pulled back, went out of business, shut down, stopped putting marketing dollars behind stuff. And I watched some guys who turned up the heat, put their foot on the gas, and they became wealthy in the next few years because they were able to take market share from people who were hesitant. Right. And I do read a lot and study a lot of successful people best I can. And all of them are looking at this period of time as complete opportunity because most people will be afraid to make moves right now.
All right.
I'm looking forward to it.
Good.
Talking about that, just opportunity and everything. A website's a business's best opportunity to be discovered. Can you share some details on our hashtag Valor Cares initiative, Joe?
Yep. So if you own a business and you either need a new website or you don't have a website or you have a website you don't have control of and you just are looking to have one rebuilt for your business, you can go to our website, askvalormasterminds.com, click on the Valor Cares page, and you can submit your information, and we choose businesses every month to build free websites.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Now we come to the part of our podcast, our A Advanced Septic Pump You Up quote of the day. So I asked John for a quote, gave me a couple. This is the one I chose. So if you aren't willing to sacrifice for what you want is what you'll sacrifice. So share your insights with us, why that resonates with you so much.
Yeah. One, I stole it. I wasn't smart enough to make it up. But when I heard it, it resonated a lot because I started in this business and I was like broke as can be. And I had to sacrifice a lot of time with my family, travel, very inconvenient, which many people, that's a very common thing. I didn't do anything extraordinary, but I did it. And a lot of people look and they go like, I'm not willing to sacrifice that stage, missing my kids' soccer, missing whatever you miss, you know, and there's things you know you need to miss. But yet everyone has goals, desires, and dreams to accomplish, achieve more, have more, do better things for their family. You know, and it literally, by you not choosing to sacrifice today's soccer game repeatedly over a long period of time, you're probably sacrificing whatever your goals and dreams are. Unless you just like one that gets, you know, that once in a lucky struck by lightning kind of deal. You know, so I just every day when I don't want to do something because I'm looking at a short term, like, I want to watch TV or go to this or see something, you know what I mean, something relatively irrelevant compared to what I want to achieve. I just remember that I'm sacrificing something bigger. I just can't see and touch it yet. You know, so I try to keep that in mind because we all have days where we don't want to do stuff.
Yeah. Right.
I think people miss that part. Like they go, I don't want to sacrifice. I'm like, you're actually literally sacrificing now. You just got to choose your sacrifice, you know? And I was willing to sacrifice the short-term stuff
for the long-term goal.
100%. And I would do it 100 times over again.
Awesome. Now we come to our Fuse Networks Did You Know segment. So While crucial to your business, cybersecurity can be tiresome for some. Cybersecurity definitely needs to be a point of emphasis for any business who relies on technology. After all, if you suffer a data breach, it can have a direct impact on the way your business is viewed by potential customers, or can even have an effect on the way you're able to operate. In order to keep your business secure online, you need to depend on your staff. Like it or not, they're a major part of your business. Cybersecurity systems, and if they aren't trained properly and understand their role, your business is low-hanging fruit for hackers. We don't want that. So consult Fuse Networks for a free consultation. So there's two myths that we have related to the insurance industry that John will debunk. So this first one, 92% of insurance agents fail. So take us through that one. Why is that a myth?
I truly believe, man. And it's out there. Like, if you look at how many people get their license versus how many people remain in the industry, continue to issue policies, and you kind of compare carrier reports, it is a low number. And failure, to me, it's like my wife and I, we do 75 hard. I don't know if you ever heard of it. If you haven't, look it up. I don't have the time to explain. It's an intense, like, kind of workout mindset challenge, if you will. You got to do certain things for 75 straight days. It's like 2 workouts a day, drink a gallon of water. There's a handful of things.
Right.
And a lot of people fail it. And I'm like, and my wife tells everyone that tries to do it, she's like, you didn't fail, you quit. Like, meaning if you didn't do your second workout of the day, it's not like you mistakenly didn't do your second. You chose to go to sleep without doing the second workout.
Yeah.
Or you chose to go to sleep without doing your gallon of water. Or you chose to drink alcohol when you weren't supposed to. And so most people, we say, quit 75 hard. They don't fail it. They choose to not do it.
Right.
And insurance is the same thing, man. I don't think agents fail. I would say, one, I believe failure, if you will, in my eyes, is making mistakes along the way. And I think that's how you learn to get better at anything.
Right.
But most agents truly just quit. It gets hard. And if they aren't, get rich quick and make whatever they thought they would make in some very short-term period of time, they get told no a lot. I'm sure y'all get told no a lot in your industry.
Every day. Yep.
We get told no all day, every day. And if you can't learn to get through that, and most agents will make some kind of external excuse as to why they're not having success. They'll blame leads, they'll blame clients, they'll blame the company, their upline, their manager, the script, or whatever the stuff is. And I'm like, insurance has worked for like 200 years.
Right.
It's not going to stop working. You know what I mean?
Right. People don't not need it, right? So
correct. And I hope someone looks at this and says, if this idiot John can do it, so can I. I hope people say that, because this is not that complicated what we do. I just chose to not quit. That's why I'm here and someone else isn't, because there's plenty of more talented people that I've seen be in this business and leave this business because they couldn't handle it mentally and they gave up. I think failure is just a very subjective. What's that word even mean? Like, who decides when you fail? It's like you either keep doing it or you don't.
Right.
And so if you don't, that literally means you quit.
Yeah.
And if you quit, how can you have success? I just think if you stick around this or anything else long enough and you get guidance and mentorship and, learn how to overcome certain things, I just believe anyone can do what I've done. And I believe I can do what y'all do if someone taught me.
Right.
I was willing to go through the pains y'all go through,
So this next one, buying leads is expensive. So talk to us about that. There's a lot of people out there, and it's not even just for the insurance industry.
It's all industries.
All industries. Buying leads is expensive. What do you say to those haters out there?
Think about, like, I don't know, Coke or Pepsi. And they spend millions and millions and millions of dollars on ads. Imagine if they didn't spend that on ads. How much Coke and Pepsi would they sell?
It would decrease quite a bit.
We wouldn't even know about it.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So therefore, the cost of them not spending millions on ads costs them billions in revenue if they turn it off.
Yeah.
And it's no different here. So if I buy leads and they cost X amount, $1, it doesn't matter what the number is, it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
And I make $2 making a sale. Again, if I don't buy another lead, by default, that means every lead I don't buy costs me $2.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's the cost of time. You know, and again, people are like, leads are expensive. I'm like, no, not buying leads and being broke is expensive. Like, that's terrible.
Or could you view it this way too, that if you don't buy that lead, your competitor buys that lead, and it's almost a the opportunity's taken away from someone else.
It's like a double whammy. You're even further behind. I agree. Now, there's some people out there who know how to generate revenue without buying leads. Amen. I'm not one of them. Nor do I want to be. You know, I'm like, I don't want to cultivate. Let me buy leads. I want to cheat. Let me talk to as many people as I can. And the value of my time is worth investing in leads for me, because I don't have to spend time prospecting. It's very expensive to prospect, especially when you don't have a client base. You know, so I think those agents that kind of penny pinch and try to like just dip their toe in and see if they work, that's a really, really costly mistake. And if I could somehow put some weird like AI camera and go like, if only you spent this much and got to see how your career played out. And then we got to do the math and really go. And for me, I know, because the first 2 years I dabbled in this industry, and I didn't invest heavily in leads. And I tried to, you know, have the magic phone script that worked on every client. And I was just trying to figure out how to overcome every objection and all the like technical stuff.
Right.
And when I went at it, and I'm like, what if I just started doing more and I worry about getting better later? And I just literally increased lead flow, increased how many clients I saw, and my income tripled in 1 year. And I was the same guy. It wasn't any different. And then by magic, I got better, because I started seeing a lot more people.
Right.
And I just wish if people could see forward in the future versus looking at, I bought a lead with the name Bob on it and I didn't close it, therefore it cost me money. It's that short-term vision again.
Right.
You know, which if you look at one lead at a time, sure, I got you. That one lead cost you X amount and you didn't make any money on that lead. But that's not how the game works.
Yeah.
Especially insurance. And I imagine most every other.
Right.
You know, if Coke looked at how much they spent on ads that I saw versus how much Coke I buy, they definitely lose money on me, because I don't drink Coke or Pepsi.
Right.
But they don't look and go like, can we somehow stop sending commercials to John's TV?
Right.
You know, they don't. They just buy it in bulk and they hit X number of millions of people. It's the same concept for us, you know.
So I'm going to dive right into the topic. If that idiot can do it, so can I. One of the things that intrigued me was I actually heard you on another podcast, the Next Play podcast. And one of the things that caught my attention is you said, taking the emotion out of selling. So really, that's what sales is, right? It's not, I didn't get this last sale because of XYZ. I didn't get it. I move on and I go to the next one, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and to be clear, I'm a super emotional guy by nature. So when I started in the industry, I actually quit the first time I picked up the phone, because I got told no like 6 times and I quit. It took me 2 years to get started again. And I'm an accountant by trade. And I was tracking my numbers, you know, so I was looking at like how many dials I made, how many people I got on the phone, how many answered, how many told me no, how many I scheduled, how many I sat. Like I kind of knew my basic stats. And my first year, I'd get a sale and I'd be excited. And then some would cancel, some wouldn't. And when they cancel, I'd get mad.
Yeah.
And then when I got no's, I'd get even more mad, you know, and I would get like really frustrated, man. And I remember one day, about a year into the business, and I'm just like nerding out with a spreadsheet. And I just did a couple formulas, man. And I was like, here's how many dials I made. Here's how much money I've made. And then I looked at, here's how many appointments I ran, and here's how much money I've made. Obviously, the money was the same number. Yeah. But I compared it to dials and I compared it to appointments scheduled.
Right.
Yeah. Not yeses, not nos, just phone calls, appointment scheduled. And the numbers came out to, I was part-time. It was 10 years ago. The number would be obscene today if I did it.
Right.
But at that time, I was making $17 every dial I made, regardless of the outcome. It didn't matter if they told me to F off. It didn't matter if they didn't pick up. It didn't matter if I made a giant sale.
Right.
It was $17 every time I dialed the phone. And then every time I booked an appointment, it was $300. This is what my numbers were. And that was inclusive of cancels, chargebacks, everything all in. Everything was factored in. It was just the net number.
Right.
And it changed my perspective on literally everything forever. Because I could say this to any, I've gone to agents. I speak at a lot of events. And I'm like, if I offered to pay you $1 for every phone call you make, what time would you come in and what time would you go home? And people are like, I won't sleep.
Right.
I'm like, you definitely don't do your numbers then. Because if you do this for half a minute, you know you actually make more than that
Yeah.
in the business, you know? And if I was told today, right now, if someone offered to pay me $20 every time I called you, unlimited times, you know how much fun I would have today?
You'd blow us up.
I would wear you out, dude. You'd be getting mad. I'd be like, watch, I'll do it again. And 20s just fell out of the sky. Like, that would actually be a fun day. And so I changed my own mindset to shift to go like, why can't I look at it like it is instead of looking at it from this negative perspective?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I not only did it do it for the sales and the emotion, but it let me know that I can control the emotion because it changed on a dime.
Mm-hmm.
If I just change the wording of it, no longer am I worried about the outcome.
Right.
You know, so now I realize I can use that in any situation. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
Right.
maybe I go through a hard day. Like we had a hard day at the office today. There's some employee stuff. We got some stuff going on. But dude, if I look at the end of the year, my number's my number.
Yeah.
I'm like, why am I going to get emotional about this day in business when at the end it's just going to work out?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not perfect, but I try to keep that same perspective every day, especially for a guy who's pretty emotional. Like if I don't focus on it, I kind of can lose it by nature.
Mm-hmm.
But like my default is to freak out.
Yeah.
So to the entrepreneur out there listening to this or hearing this kind of for the first time, it sounds good to just take the emotion out and then you just hit it. But getting going is probably the hard part. So what would you tell those people out there, like one or two things that they could do right now to at least get started on the right track? Because it sounds good, you know, but then like you said, you're on that 75-day challenge. You do the first one, great. Day two, I don't know. By day three, you quit. So that failure. Same thing here. They could listen to this tomorrow. They'll implement it. Great. And then by December, whatever, 3 days afterwards, it's gone. Right. So what would
New Year's is coming up, right?
Yeah, it's New Year's. When we're filming this episode, this is our last filmed episode of 2022, technically. But we're going to.
By the time this plays, there's probably going to be some people who quit on their resolution already. I would guess.
Yep.
Guaranteed.
I mean, I'm guilty of that all the time, right? Every year, I'm like, I need to lose weight. I'm going to start going to the gym, and then you start going to the gym, and then you're just like,
Hey, you know what's like a big, I think, red flag is when you go, I'm going to start on the first. Like you're already beginning with procrastination.
Yep.
Like you're probably not in the right mindset to start something new. I'm just going to throw it out there. It's not the first good step, you know?
Right.
You know, so I think for me, dude, this is how I teach agents because the numbers are what they are. And I can throw millions of agents in a bucket. That's how they come up with insurance pricing. They throw a bunch of people in a bucket. They figure out their risk. They all know how long we're going to live on average.
Right.
But maybe they lose money on me because I die young or I live long or whatever it is. But if they put everyone in a bucket, the numbers are what they are.
Right.
So insurance companies are very unemotional about their pricing. You can do that with anything, anywhere, Walmart, Home Depot. The concept works the same. The law of large numbers works. So my first recommendation to you is things like this don't work with, it's not like the law of small numbers.
right.
So one, let's start putting some numbers on your side. One, you know, and then I think you should track numbers. I don't think you need a PhD in accounting to track numbers. I always joke because there's some people like, I'm not numbers guys. I'm not a numbers guy. I'm like, dude, grab a crayon. I don't care which color, some napkins, and just write down the basics.
Yeah.
Like it's not hard to go, I called 10 people today and keep track of it.
Right.
I saw 15 people this week and keep track of it. That's like, you don't need to be a spreadsheet guru to do anything.
Right.
So I say, you know, for me, dude, I try to, and to be honest, if it's not, someone told me this once, let's go back to your advice one. If sticking with it when it's hard, like when it gets hard, if that's a problem for you, your dreams probably aren't big enough.
Good one. Yeah.
You know, and that always stuck with me, man. Another mentor of mine would tell me, like, when it got hard, he's like, hey, do me a favor, pull into the nearest hospital. They have a cancer ward on one of the sides. Go pull into that cancer side and be thankful you're not in there.
Yeah.
And then tell me how bad your day is.
Right.
And I literally, every time it rings in my brain still to this day. It's been 10 years since I first heard that. You know, so when I try to get negative, I think of stuff like that. You know, I have little triggers that I try to catch myself with. But I would tell people, you know, go on some, I like 90-day runs. Let me take 90 days and go at it at X amount. I'm going to do this much work in 90 days. And then at the end, I'm going to assess what it looks like. If we all get together and go, I want to lose weight today, and we do whatever, we do amazing workout, we sweat our face off for 22 hours straight, and we get on the scale, are we really going to see much change?
No.
In the mirror, you're going to see anything different?
No.
It's going to look no different. And if you look the next day, you're going to see a difference?
No.
Like, how about the next day?
No.
So like, what day is it? You know what I mean? Like, when is the day that, the only way I know how is when you look backwards a significant period of time. If I look back 60 days or 90 days, I go, oh, dang, I look different. And everyone can relate to that. If you're staring in the mirror every single day, you'll never, ever, ever in your life see a difference. And too many people go out there in the sales world, man, and they judge every single day. Every day. Tuesday was terrible. Wednesday was terrible. Well, how was this Tuesday compared to 6 months ago Tuesday? Are you better?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I like looking at it like that. Let me look at buckets, windows of time, and let me look backwards and compare, and then go, did I really give it my all to even be like afford to be in a better position? You know what I'm saying? Like, did I really give it? And so then I can judge myself too and go, all right, last 90 days, all right, I'm not quite where I want to be relative to 90 days ago. Maybe it's a little better. All right, what could I have done better now? Could I have gotten up earlier? Could I have been less emotional? And make some things to judge yourself on. You know, and I would look at my numbers once a week, but I didn't judge them but once a quarter.
Yeah.
You know, so that helped me, dude. And I try to get people, because I don't want people to not look at them. I'm like, look at them. But let's not make an assessment. Did I do good, bad, or indifferent every single day of the week? And most salespeople struggle with that. Like, I had a tough day. I'm like, all right. I mean, any sports. Baseball is a great analogy.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I saw someone, Deion Sanders. They asked him what was his like. They were talking about him and his football, baseball, and which one was most challenging. And he was like, baseball by far. He goes, because any sport that you can fail 7 out of 10 times and be considered great. They asked him which was the hardest. They asked him if baseball or football was harder. He said baseball, because anything you can fail in 7 out of 10 times and be considered great, it's got to be really hard.
Yeah.
Right.
And he loved the challenge of it. But again, someone like him considered great at what, he wasn't obviously the greatest baseball player on planet Earth. He's pretty good.
Right.
But even so, it's like he'd go 0 for 5 some days. But we look at him today, he's still prime time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He had 0 for 30 streaks, 0 for 20 streaks. He had games where he got out, made errors, and although you try to fix it, he didn't quit baseball.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he didn't lose his ever-loving mind. He just go back to go to the dugout, go to coaching, watch some film, adjust the next day in practice, whatever it was. And I think too many people look at a bad day, and I've seen many people let it ruin their career, man. They just give up. You know?
Well, especially in sales, it's only the top 10% that really survives. You could probably make a case for the top 5% of salespeople that really excel, and they hire so many people. Joe and I have experienced it in our joint previous lives where the bottom rung always gets replaced, and you try to stay on that top quarter rung or the top half, and it's hard, so.
Yeah, you know what I've learned with that? Because you are right. But I'll argue, and you guys won't argue back, that the top ones, they work way harder.
Yes, I'm not arguing there. We'll agree.
Yeah, correct. We will agree. Because and so what I used to do, this is one of the things I used to grow my agency. I would take the top guys, and I'd go, here's how many appointments they ran, here's how much revenue they're making. And I'd do the math, X amount per appointment.
Yeah.
Right? Like mine, at that time, it was like $300. Again, it was early in my career, comp was different, just it is what it is. But our top guys would be like $400, $450 an appointment, like the elite guys.
Yeah.
But I had some of the highest level guys at $250, but they'd run double the appointments.
Oh.
So I used to take our leaderboards, and I would take the top people, and I'd go, here's their average per appointment. And then I'd take the bottom people and go, here's your average per appointment. And dude, like way over half the time, the bottom people actually had a higher average per appointment or per phone call than the top people. But they worked about like 25% of the activity as the top people.
Yeah.
So they were actually better salespeople if you just looked
strictly on the numbers.
Raw numbers.
Yeah.
but they were weaker here and they didn't work as hard. So their net number was terrible. And so I used to use that with people and go, like, dude, you're actually good. If you would outwork him, you'd actually make more money than he does.
Yeah.
Which shows the point that it's just such a fine line. And even in sports too, usually it's only a little bit that separates the top from average, better than average. It's usually sometimes the better than average people will have the skill set, but it's that extra thing. Tom Brady was a 6th-round draft pick, right? He wasn't physically better, but he had something that other guys didn't. I mean, greatest of all time, but I'm just saying to prove a point, anyone could succeed in this industry. Going back to the topic, if this idiot can do it, anyone can, right? So you don't have to put yourself in a box. I had 5 crappy days, my career's over. It's how you pivot and get yourself up, right?
And dude, you talk to enough successful people, and I've been in rooms with some really well-off people, and they're like, I'm not actually that intelligent. I just work hard and didn't give up.
Yeah.
I don't think anything amazing. Some people look at it and I'm like, dude, I'm just a dude who just got into insurance and didn't quit.
Right.
And I got better, and I'm considered pretty good at it today. But I truly, truly believe that I can accomplish. I remember being a kid thinking like this, I've always wanted to build a hotel because I'm weird. And I'm like, I used to use the example. I'm like, if this guy can build a hotel, every time I'm in a hotel, I think a couple guys just sat here, maybe a vacant lot, you know what I mean, and went we should build a hotel. And then they called some people who did construction and they put it to that's kind of how it happens.
Right.
And I went why can't I do that one day? Especially if I find someone to teach me how they did it. You know what I mean? I'm like, I just feel like I can, if it's not anything physical, I can't dunk from anywhere actually, maybe with a trampoline, but something like that, man. I've just always truly believed I can accomplish what someone else can accomplish just if I were given the same opportunity and, someone was able to kind of guide me through some of the pieces of it and help me navigate it. And I truly believe people can accomplish what I have and many others. And I don't believe I've accomplished that much in the big scheme of the insurance world, to be honest.
It's just you didn't quit.
That's it, man.
That's it. I mean, listen to your story on the other podcast, and then people go check out the other podcast so you can learn more about a story. But all you just didn't do is you didn't quit.
Yeah, if the want to is there, the how to will come, right? And your want to overcame all the other obstacles and everything.
Yeah. I told my staff last week I wanted to quit, but then I don't. I just won't. I refuse to quit. I still say it. Some days I still want to. I'm like, I just won't. I can't do it. I don't have it in me. Because that's a choice you can't. I'm like, man, that's a forever choice.
Right.
And it's where are you going to go next? If what you do is quit when it gets hard, do you really believe the next thing ain't going to get hard?
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's all right. And then you got that old saying, choose your hard. I lived the other hard, 35 years of broke hard. I don't like that hard.
Right.
I'd rather do this hard, and just stick through it, man. And then you got the story, so someone out there is building their story right now, and then it's going to get hard, and they're going to have a choice to quit or keep going. And if you quit, now you have no story to tell ever. If you keep going, one day you get to tell the story and maybe impact other people, maybe your kids' lives get to be different. You just never know where it leads. I've met some amazing people by not quitting, man.
Well, we definitely appreciate you sharing that, your time today with us. You have a great story. It comes through real. Like you said, it's kind of ironic. Take the emotion out of sales, but you're heavily emotional with your drive and everything. So I definitely very inspiring episode. Before we go, our one last plug for our Valor Cares initiative, Joe.
Sure. If you don't have a website or you have a website and you need a new one, just go to our website, fill out the form, and we'll choose winners every month for free websites.
Awesome. So thanks, John, for joining us.
Thank you, sir.
Great stuff. Definitely.
Appreciate
So on behalf of our sponsors, Advanced Septic Services and Fuse Networks, my name's Galen.
I'm Joe.
Coming at you virtually from the BD Local Studios in Tacoma, Washington. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Ask Valor Masterminds podcast. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.